Okay, we're up to Nedarim, Daf Mem Daled Amid Beis. Good Erev Shabbos to all. But we have to have a recap over here to go ahead and a segue into the sugya. So let's get outside. Let's go over the last few days. We saw the person's mudanah from his friend. He can't have enough from him. They end up alone, right? We said they end up with three people, and he should give it as a matana to the other person, and then the other person get it from him. And then we said, what happened if there's only two people and the person doesn't have what to eat, and you're not allowed to give him manah. So to give it to him directly, you can't do it because you'd be giving him manah. So the Chacham said, what do? You put it on a rack or a fence and you mafkir it. As a result of that, it's no longer in your jurisdiction. When the person comes along and takes it, so he's not having enough from you. That's provided when you're mafkir it, it's totally out of your jurisdiction. Since it's totally out of your jurisdiction, then he's not having enough. It says Rabbi Yossi, it's asa. And Rabbi Yochanan rather to suggest the reason for Rabbi Yossi is he is soid in hefker. What's the soid in hefker? That in fact it doesn't leave Rishus right away. It only lives Rishus when the other person comes along and is zeich in it. In other words, it's in your Rishus, and it's therefore all intents and purposes, and therefore you will be able to change your mind since it never left your Rishus. That's the key. Like the Chachamim, who it's out of your Rishus, then you can't change your mind because it's shain zu spät. Right, Baruch? It's too late. So Mashenken, according to the Rabbi Yossi, you'll be able to change your mind, and therefore we slugged that up. We slugged it up, Emes. We said that we had a case where a person made a neder, and he was mafka something, or he was mafka something and made a neder. When he was mafka something and made a neder, the halacha is that the hefker is that the person who could have anah could use the hefker. But according to Rabbi Yossi, why should be able to? Since even though the neder came after the act of being mafka the object, nonetheless it's like Rabbi Yossi, it should be what also. Why? Because it never left the Rishus. Ella, that was the Gemara's upslug on Rabbi Yossi. And Rava came and said the reason why when a person's mafka something on a rock, it doesn't work, is because it's similar to the case of matnas beis chorin. Matnas beis chorin was when a person his father couldn't have enough from him. He had regrets, and then he had his sons getting married, so he wanted his father present at the chasna of his grandson, and he gave him a ton of his field and the food to a friend in order to facilitate his father's presence at the wedding, where consequently the friend was magnishit. And the guy said, what are you talking about? I didn't give it to you to be magnishit. I just gave it to you to keep it away from my father. He clearly was the legal loophole. So to over here, when you're mafia and put it on the rock, that's the legal loophole. So that was so again, it's important to know that Rabbi Yossi, guys, was a havamina. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yossi was a havamina. This super lumdus of that it leaves you rishus and goes until the other person's like in it, we've slugged that up. Okay, but nonetheless, the Gemara very interestingly goes ahead and revisits that. And yesterday's whole Gemara was predicated on the concept of Rabbi Yossi that as Rabbi Yochanan understands him, that it doesn't leave you rishus until the person's zeicha, right? That was yesterday's Gemara. We brought in two brises yesterday's Gemara. We put in a brisa. Actually, we only brought in one brisa. We're going to bring in the second brisa today. But we brought in a brisa that said that, or a brisa that said, well, the first 3 days you can go ahead, Rod, and you're able to have charata, and after that you can't. We said you can't have charata, so it must be according to Chachamim, because Rabbi Yossi, you could always have charata. And then we had a second part of the brisa that it was contingent upon time you could have charata, which was clearly like Rabbi Yossi. We had two pshatim how to go ahead and make the brisa come out with kulei alma. According to Ula, it was speaking all according to the Chachamim. So therefore, the first brisa, it works out well because you're able to have charata. In the second brisa, why can't you have charata? Because your hefka was not a really good hefka, because you were mavara, since you made your hefka contingent upon a time, be it a day, be it a week, be it a Shabbos, be it a Chodesh, be it a Shemitah cycle, since in other words, as we spoke at, well, I thought very well yesterday, that hefker is going ahead and being masalik yourself. You're removing yourself, your bias from this. By going ahead making contingent upon time, you're going ahead and retaining some ownership. Such a hefker, the chacham mamoida yachal achzaboy. That's Ula's pshat. Reish Lakish's pshat was the opposite. The whole price is according to Rabbi Yossi. That the second part makes sense, right? Because you're able to change your mind. And the first one, ein yachal achzaboy, is because what? Because of you're worried about hefker. In other words, if you're not able to change your mind, there could be able to change your mind. There's two reasons. One, it could be because of hefker. Two, it could be because of matana, right? So what are we worried about? that you're going to think that it's a matana. You're going to think that's a matana. A person then might go ahead and think that it's a chayiv in Trumas Maisa, and really it's part in Trumas Maisa. You may have to take off from this one and that one. So we had those sort of two pshatim. We had Ula's pshat. We had so according to Reish Lakish's pshat that in order Reish Lakish's pshat that you don't want to go ahead and make a mistake. Okay, I think I wasn't not that so clearly, but it's okay. So now you have Ula. They're both the Rabbanon, and Reish Lakish, they're both Rabbi Yossi. We're going to bring a Bryce in now to question Rabbi Yossi. We're going to bring a Bryce in now to go ahead and question Rabbi Yossi. Good. We have a Bryce in now to question Rabbi Yossi. Says the Brysa. What we're going to do today is we're going to finish the parak, and we're not going to start a new parak. It's all a big hemshech where you need a big hakdama. Instead of going ahead and doing it halfway, we'll do it Motzei Shabbos the correct way. So today's share might be quite brief. It's a short day anyway. It says that Mesive, we're up to Mem Daled on the base, 3 lines down. Mesive. And again, we're going to ask on Reish Lakish, who says Rabbi Yossi. Good. Hamafker es karmoi, a person is mafker his kerem. He's mafker his kerem. Now, anytime you're mafker your kerem, the matnas aniyim in the kerem is pata. You don't have to give matnas aniyim. So a kerem has unique matnas aniyim. It has something called perit, oilois, shikha peya, which is not unique to kerem. Huadin, it would apply to what? A regular field. Perit and oilois is speaking unripened grapes, or grapes that fall, right? Clusters that are not ripened, or grapes that fall off. That's unique to what? Perit and oilois, those term is unique to what? To kerem with leket and shikacha and different things will be by bitfu as well. So now he's mafkis field. Uleshacher, he gets up in the morning. Amad ubatzroi, and then he goes ahead and he harvests it. So obviously, the act of harvest we can go ahead and view as having charata on the hefker. Again. Now, what's the halacha about matnas aniyim? So, chayiv v'perid v'oilos v'shichu v'peya. Those 4 you be chayiv in. It's a gemara. It's a sugya that since there's a special lashon of tazlev, it says a double. By these, it says as of tazlev, it says a double lashon to teach me that even after you mafker it, and you're zeichen it, and you be chayiv. However, pata min ha'maisa, you be pata from maisa. Now, why are you pata from maisa, guys? Because it's hefker, right? Now. Tell me if this brisa is not the same as another brisa. Watch. You were mafker it. You were magdish it. You were mafker it. Good. Within 3 days, guys. Did you have charata within 3 days? You got up in the morning. And what? And you were recycling it. Good. So that is tantamount to what? To having charata on your hefker. Good. What's the din? It's pata from Maisa. Good. What does that mean? That the hefker ain't a yachal aksaboy. Correct? That the hefker was a good hefker. Because if yachal aksaboy, it should be chayiv in Maisa. Yes? Good. So let's go back to a brisa. Go turn the page back. I'll show you. This is the exact same brisa we had yesterday. On the bottom of the Yomid base, 2 lines up. Tanya. Hamafke es sadeu. Someone's mafke his field. Just put the word kerem in there. Kol shloish yamim. Within 3 days. Just put in Omad Ubatzroi, he got up, Yachalachsaboy, he's able to have Charata. Good. Meaning it's not Hefker. Meaning it should be Chayiv, what? It should be Chayiv, yes? So this Brisa and the Brisa we just said needs an explanation. Yachalachsaboy means that you can change your mind. But if you change your mind, meaning it's not Hefker. If it's not hefker, it should be chayiv in Maisa, not pater in Maisa. So it's different words, but it's really the same thing, right? It's beautiful, right? It's really the same thing, but it's different words. So now, how can we go ahead and make these brises stem together? Now, it's very easy to say that these 2 brises are 2 different opinions, right? That brisa Yachal Aksaba is going to come to Rabbi Yossi, and this brisa is going to come to Rabbanan. Yes, that'd be the easiest way out. And in fact, the Gemara will take that way out. But before it takes that way out, let's go ahead and ask a question on Reish Lakish. All right? Now, it's the easiest way out. There's no problem. That said, Yachal Aksaboy, that's Rabbi Yossi. Or the Chachomim, that they made a takana, like we said yesterday, if they are Ramoyan. Or But according to this price, clearly what it's hefker. That's what clearly it's hefker. Ain't yachal achsabai. Says the Gemara now. With that in mind, is Gishmak. Bishlei Ula. Ulu said both prices according to the Chachamim. The Rabbanon Ketanila, the Raisa Ketanila. It's according to the Rabbanon, meaning that first price is according to the Chachamim. That what? Ain't yachal achsabai. And we said yesterday, yachal achsabai, it's a takana mifnei haramayim. Yes? That, in other words, midoraisa, it's hefka completely. And it's pata from Maisa. I'm Brisa here that says that it's pata from Maisa is the Doraisa Dikadin. Since you were mafkarid, it's out of your rishus, forget about it. The Brisa we just went back to that said Yachal Achsabai, that was the takana of the Chachamim late Ula, right? That you worried that of Asramayim, these guys are going to go ahead and make a harama, that they're going to go ahead and be mafkarid, and the next morning they're going to go ahead and like they're doing right now, getting up and reintroduce and harvesting the field. Udaraisa Katanila, Ela Reish Lakish, light Reish Lakish. Amai Pata min Amaisa, light Reish Lakish. Why should you pata from Maisa? It makes no sense. Meaning, it's Reb Lakish says everything's Reb Yaisi. That first price was Reb Yaisi, correct? That first price was Reb Yaisi. This price clearly is not Reb Yaisi, because this price says you're pata from Maisa. A light Reb Yaisi, you should be chayiv in Maisa, because the hefka was never a hefka since it never left your rishus. And your act of harvesting it is the same thing as what is saying chayzaboy. What's the obvious answer? Amalach Reish Lakish will tell you, Ki Amri Ana, when do I say my din? L'Reb Yaisi. This price that we just mentioned is Rabbanon. He's way out. At a stira, he's way out. It can't be according to, it can't, like Reish Lakish, this price that can't be according to Reb Yaisi, because it says it is hefker. Iba Yisema, I say both could be according to Reb Yaisi. Another teretz. They both could be according to Reb Yaisi. You know, this price that could be according to Reb Yaisi also. Why does it say over here, Yochel, Eina Yochel Achsaboy? Guys, when you say the word Pata Mimaisa, it's the same thing as saying Eina Yochel Achsaboy, right? These, you know, it's you just have to switch it around like we just did. That's what it means. Eina Yochel Achsaboy, because it's hefka, right? So if Pata Mimaisa, it's hefka. If it's hefka, it means Eina Yochel Achsaboy. Rabbi Yaisi says Yochel Achsaboy within 3 days. I mean, he says, right. Says Gemara Iba Yisema, Had the afgrei ba'an pei torin, but had the afgrei ba'an pei klulsa. There's a difference if you're mafka in front of 2 people, and there's a difference if you're mafka in front of 3 people. Heshi asked me this yesterday, and it's a fascinating story we're going to see. If you're mafka in front of 2 people, it's not a complete hefker. If you're mafka in front of 3 people, Rabbi Yossi's moida that it's a hefker, and you can't go ahead and change your mind. So now we are fine-tuning Rabbi Yossi. Initially, we thought, according to Rabbi Yossi, that when any hefker, no matter in front of how many or how little, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't, according to Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yossi, it doesn't leave you rishus unless somebody else is life in it. Says the Gemara now, there's a different svara. When does Rabbi Yossi say that it doesn't leave you rishus until someone else comes along and takes it? That's if you're mafka in front of 2 people. But however, you're mafka in front of 3 people, then what? Then in fact, it's going to go ahead and be completely hefker. So the second brisa that we just said, where it's completely hefker, because why? Because you put from Maisa, goes according to this hefker was done in front of 3 people. The previous brisa, according to Reish Lakish, that said that Yachal Achsabai. So this price this is in front of 3 people. The price before that says that what? That Yachal Achsabai is speaking in front of 2 people. Speaking in front of 2 people. Okay, let's see the Ran inside. We have a little time. The Ran is very, very geshmak. The Ran is Amim Hey Amim Aleph. It's a good sequel to the whole sugya. Again, what's our stira? Our first price says that what? That you within 3 days you could change your mind, and over here it says you can't change your mind. Kloimar Hachmas Nisan Nami the Hamafkeres Karmoi Krebiasiasia. The second brisa that we just mentioned that says that it's hefker, meaning you can't change your mind, even comes according to Rabbi Yossi. The ad kan loy come Rabbi Yossi the mafke yochal achsaboy. Until when does Rabbi Yossi say the mafsa can't change his mind? Elo the afgrei ba'ape trei. He's mafker in front of two people. Now, what would the difference guys be between 2 and 3? If you an active hefker is an active hefker, what's the difference? Kloimar she'ein sham shloisha. There's no 3 people. Dumyo demasnisan, similar to our Mishnah, where you put it on a rock. It was you and him in the desert. The Tani that we learned in that case. The Tani in that case, what did we learn? The Eini Mohem Acher. You're in the desert. You and the guy that can't have enough from you. That case, Rabbi Yossi says it's asa. The Svirele, the Kol Ki Gavna, when you only have another person, there are 2 people, Hefka Kematana. Then Hefka is a matana. The Ad Ase Lushus Zoicha, Leinafik Mishus Mafkir. Guys, beautiful. When you give a matana to somebody, how many people's there? 2. You, the Noistein, and 2, the Makabel. The case when we say, Rabbi Yossi says it's asa, because it's the same lumdis, that it doesn't leave his rishus of the mafkir till it comes to rishus the zoicha, is 2 people. That's the case of the rock. The case of the rock is it's only you and him. So the Rabbi Yossi says that hefker is not a hefker until it comes to that rishus, and that's a problem because then he's having hana. So in other words, the Gemara is answering now. The Rabbi Yossi says his din that it only comes to the rishus of the zoicha of the out of the rishus of the mafker is because of the case of our Mishnah. We're extrapolating that din from the Mishnah. What did our Mishnah say? If you and the person who can't have enough from you are in a desert someplace and there's no other way to give him food, put it on a rock or a fence and be mafker it. After this, there's only 2 people there. In that scenario, it's similar to Matana, where there's only 2 people, you and him, you're giving it to him. Therefore, it's asa. Why? Because it's not leaving a rishus and he's directly having enough. The time of Mishum, the Einim Kenny were in the Ran Memhei Amid Hey in the middle. The time of Mishum, the Einim Mohem Acher, because no one there. Inami Deleka Bahade, Elatrei Adaite Dechad, the Mahanach Belchud Afgrei. He's only mafker in that individual. The Chol Bei Trei Leka Kola. When you have 2 people, there's no coil. No one knows about it. So it remains where it is until someone takes it. Mishum Hachi Dami Lamatana. It's just like matana does not go ahead and leave you a shus unless that. Guys, if I give a matana to somebody, it's not his till he takes it because maybe he doesn't want it. I'm good. You know what? I really like you very much. I'm giving you my pet tarantula. And your wife is petrified of spiders. And you're not so calm with it yourself. So what? So it's yours already because I gave it to you? Of course not. It's only yours when you take it. So therefore, the same thing by the hefker. Achanami hachaloi mafker el adaite deidach, or adaite dechad mitravayu. Hilkach ki hechi de matana loy nafik mishusay. Just like matana, first wide line on nemhei. Just like matana does not leave your shus, and they also do shus makabel. Achanami in the case of our Mishnah, the hefker ki hai the hefker zel matana dummy. Okay, that's the case of the brisa that we said yesterday, of the brisa. That's the bright, like our Mishnah, and the Brisa of Mafka Sedeu that Yachalachsaboy. But Bichi Haye Hefker Mitukma Mishum Hachi Katani, the Achle Zachaba, Bein Hu Bein Acha Yachalachsaboy. Guys, just go back, keep your finger on the place here. Go back to yesterday's daf. Amafka Sedeu Koshlesh Yom Yachalachsaboy, Mikan Ve'elech in Yachalachsaboy. Why Mikan Ve'elech? Why in Yachalachsaboy? According to what? According to Reish Lakish, right? Because you don't want to forget, that's the din, but you don't want to, the first part, you don't want to forget Teres Hefka. But in Yachalachsa, because you don't want to forget Teres Hefka, but really Midaraisa, it would be out of guys with shus. Now, why would this case would it be, why would this case Yachalachsa by? Why Yachalachsa by and Yachalachsa by? Is because since it was only 2 people, like our Mishnah, it doesn't leave his rishus till it comes to the other person's rishus. What about this price of Kerem that we haven't turned the page back? Mafka is karmoi where it's hefka completely. It's there's 3 people there. That's the Ran. Aval hach masnisan back in the Ran. The mafka is karmoi. The price of mafka is karmoi. Mitukmo the afgrei ba'ape tilsa. It's speaking where you mafka in front of 3 people. The cholhecha the ikka tilsa when there's 3 people avsha milsa. It publicizes the matter. Avsha means like lotion of avsha is like a avsha means with a lot of people around you. You want to be among people. So avsha milsa. About daiti the kuliyalma afgrei, and he's mafker on everybody, and not just this individual. When you're alone in the desert with that one guy, you're only mafkir for that one guy. When there's only two people around, you give them matana, you only give it to the matana to one guy. When there's more than one guy around, there's a lot of people around, you mafkir completely. Right? It's not similar to matana. It's not similar to matana. Comes out, guys, listen to this fascinating thing. From what we thought initially, totally changed now. Light Reb Yossi, we thought that light Reb Yossi in Reb Yochanan. Why did we think that there's a universal machlokes between the Chacham and Reb Yossi? The Chacham say no matter what, it doesn't make a difference. It's always out of his rishus completely. No matter what, doesn't make a difference. That kind of stays the same, guys. Like the Chachamim, it's out of your rishus right away. There's no change in that. The Chacham's pshat and hefka remains hefka. As soon as you mafker it, anyone can come along and take it, and you have no shaykhs to it. And if you mud the hanoi, put it on a rock, that guy can eat gesundta height, freshly afered, no problem. Loi Reb Yossi comes out, there's two types of hefker. Initially we thought, Reb Yossi says, no, it never goes to the other person's rishus until he's zoicha. It doesn't leave the other person's rishus until he's zoicha. No matter how. Now the Gemara is mechadish, that's not true. What's the side of hefker? That it only leaves the person's rishus when the other person's zoicha? Is it similar to matana? Just like matana, clearly we all agree, I gave you a case from Tarantula, that it's not going to leave the noise saints until the person's makabel. Who adin, it's not going to leave the mafkir until the person's zoicha. When is that? Similar to matana, mano a mano, right? We don't care who's around, 1 to 2. So therefore, if I'm mafka in front of one person, because I'm in the desert and needs food, that hefker is similar to matana, that I'm only mafka for this guy. If I'm only mafka, this is the lumdis. If I'm only mafka from this guy, so my mail, it's not like a total hefker. So of course it doesn't leave my rishus until what? And that person takes it. Masha Enkain, where I have a bunch of people around. And I'm mafker it, I'm not mafker it uniquely to that one individual similar to matana. I'm mafker it universally. And of course, it leaves my rishus right away. It's a tremendous lumdis, guys, between the 3 and the 2, but not because of the numbers. It's because of the lumdis behind it. The way it doesn't leave my rishus is because it's similar to matana. Matana is a mano a mano. I only have shaykhs to you, right? I'm giving it to you. When I'm in the desert and I'm being mafker, I'm only mafker to you. Then Rabbi Yossi says it's then that it doesn't leave the rishus of the mafker. Mashenkin, there's a bunch of people around, and he says a general lashon hefka. Rabbi Yossi is moide that what? That in fact it leaves rishus right away. So that's the answer to the stira. The first brisa with mafka sadeu, that's Rabbi Yossi's no problem. The second brisa, which was problematic because it says that the field was mafkas karmoi, and the next morning you harvested your field. It's mashma that it's a potter from Maisa. Why? Because it was hefka completely enachinami. It's speaking 3 people. There's 3 people. It was completely mufka. Now this lumdis and everything comes out, guys. It's a very interesting thing. We began to share by telling you we slugged up Rabbi Yossi. We slugged up Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yossi. We slugged it up. We said if Rabbi Yochanan's pshat and Rabbi Yossi is correct, why would Rabbi Yossi agree if you're mafka your field and then make a neder that this person can have anah? 1 second. If it doesn't come to his rishus, right? So it must be seen because of matnas space chorin as we began. So it comes out, this is all classic Gemara, but halacha, it's not halacha. The Ran brings it, guys. Let's look at the Ran. Count up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines from the bottom. This whole sugya, guys, goes according to the half a meaning of the Gemara. The time of the Rabbi Yossi Mishum de Kasava, Hefka Kamatana Asya, Rabbi Yochanan the Amahachi Leel, who oitaisiv, and Rabbi Yochanan who said that Hefka is like matana, that it only comes to the rishus of the makabel, or the rishus of the zaych, leaves the rishus of the naisein and the rishus of the rak that comes to the rishus. Ha'itaisiv, we slugged it up. The kima shekain lemaskadan del el atchalei kol hach sugya. Like the maskana of the previous Gemara, this whole sugya is a moot point. Even according to the that sugya, the reason why that the sada you could change your mind because the hefka wasn't a complete hefka. Leinafkim is just mafka. Adosli was shazaycha. The kulik and the prishazel. Everything is like I did before. What about la halacha? Lina halacha k'tayid Rabbi Yochanan Yeshua ben Levi nakina. Okay, let's finish the Gemara now. Says the Gemara. Where did we see this difference between 2 and 3? Anyone who's mafker in front of 3 people have a hefka, meaning it's hefka even before it leaves the person's rishus. But if you're mafker in front of 2, then it's similar to matana. Loy have a hefker. It's not hefker, and it won't come to the rishus of the rishus of the mafker until it comes to the rishus of the zeicha. However, Rabbi Shua ben Levi Amar v'Torah afilu be'echad have a hefker, right? Why? Because he holds like the chachamim, guys. Because he holds like the chachamim. The chilik between 2 and 3 is only noigeya Rabbi Yossi, right? But if you hold like the chachamim that it's mafka right away, who cares how many people are there? Oh, it's a bishmak. Have you hefka? Umat hamama b'shloisha. Why 3? Not to facilitate the etzem hefker. You just need testimony that it took place. In other words, like Rabbi Yossi, you need 3 to go ahead and elevate the hefker from what? From a hefker that's lit, that doesn't leave my rishus until it comes to rishus of the zeicha. But the 3 changes the etzem hefker. It makes it hefker and ganzen. Like the 3, according to Chachamim, it's hefker right away. Why do you need 3 for? 1 to go ahead and be the other person, and the other two to be aiding to the matter. That's the whole thing. So it's a sugya arucha again. It's a very interesting lumdis that you should not see this lahalacha. The problem is the Rambam brings this down. It's a huge sugya hefker. The Rambam in base from Nedarim halacha yudal. I think it's a sugya arucha that's beyond the scope of this year. Okay, so Bez Hashem shall have a great Shabbos, and Bez Hashem will start Motzei Shabbos. We'll start Hashutafin, a very short perik and a hard perik. Is there a svara to say that in the second brisa that in the brisa by the Sada by the Kerem or the Sada by the Kerem? Yeah. He made it hefker, but by going back into the field and doing an action, I can take back my own item. If I made something hefker, you see the Ran, Ronnie, very good yes question. You'll see the Ran yourself on Memdal at the bottom. Memdal on the bottom. The Ran, he discusses it. Okay, you look homework. Bye bye.